Hello, everybody. Welcome to Brooks Knows Baseball. This is the 30 Breakdowns in 30 Days. Today's episode, we're going to go over the Kansas City Royals, a organization that I'm very, very familiar with. I've worked in their organization previously, and so I'm very familiar with the team, especially last year's team. Unfortunately, they were not very good last year. So go ahead and take a look at the Royals' history here. So since 2016, they have not made the playoffs. The last time they made the playoffs was 2015. And then last year, they won 74 games, 26 games year before that, 59 games, 58 games. So they've had 2 out of the last 4 years of over 100 losses. So I guess you could say 74 wins is better, maybe. But then if you go back to 2014 and 2015, they went to the World Series twice and actually won it in 2015 with that young team. They have completely decimated that team. They completely broke them up. Nothing behind that. But if you go even earlier, they made the playoffs before that in 1985. They won the World Series. Before that, they made it in 84. And then they've only made it 5 other times. So they have not made the playoffs many times. They've been around since 1969. But again, they do have some good history there with players like Brett Saberhagen and with George Brett, arguably one of the greatest baseball players to ever play in the Kauffman Stadium, which is actually a pretty nice stadium. It's an older stadium, obviously, but they made some good upgrades. It's really pretty. It's nice to see that crown in the outfield. But without further ado, John, do you have anything you'd like to add, or you just want me to kind of take this one?
Well, when you talk about George Brett, I've been watching baseball for, let's just say, a long time. I've seen a lot of great players. Basically from about early 70s, 70, 71, somewhere in the neighborhood. So I've seen a lot of great ones. And in my estimation, Brett and Pete Rose are the 2 greatest players I've ever seen. But for the arrivals this year, the major ones were Ryan Yarborough, who's been an up and down pitcher with Tampa, a former Old Dominion University pitcher. The reason I bring that up is Pasquantino, your first baseman, ODU.
Yeah.
Cotraro, the new manager, ODU player. So it's funny you got an ODU connection. They're a very good, usually top 30, top 25 baseball program. But anyway, and it's also where Justin Verlander went. And I'm sure there's more, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. But also, then they got Jordan Lyles. Now you think, okay, Jordan Lyles. Jordan Lyles was a steadying influence with the Orioles and their young staff last year. He did a lot better, and he pitched some really good games. I watched him a lot.
He's an innings eater, nothing more than
that. But he's pitched about 180 innings basically the last 2 years. But he's not.
He's got high whip.
Yeah. But to watch him, he had some games where he's really good, and then he has some games where he's not. But anyway, that's all I got for. And Zach Greinke got re-signed, correct?
Yeah, Zach Greinke did get re-signed. He actually had a solid year last year. His losses wouldn't look like that, but he had 3.68, 26 starts. He didn't pitch many innings, and he had some injury issues though.
Well, we'll get to their rotation when we get to it, but I guess we could do that next, right?
Let's do it.
Well,
they're number one.
I'm sorry, I cut you off there, but Greinke was solid last year. I think Jordan Lyles will slot in 3 or 4 on that team. I think he'll be okay. I think Yarborough will be okay. Brad Keller could be okay. And Brady Singer, I think, is going to be a star.
I like Brady Singer. I saw him pitch last year in person on some rehab assignments. He started 24 games for Kansas City last year, had a 3.2 ERA, had 10 wins, 5 losses. He's definitely their best pitcher they have. I know he's actually playing for Team USA this week when the WBC starts. So he's a very solid pitcher. There's been a lot of hype around him for a while, and I think it just started coming together last year, which is really good for him. He had 150 strikeouts, 153 innings, so just under 1 inning. His whip was 1.14, which is not the greatest, but all of his stats are improved from previous years. He pitched way more innings than he ever has before. He needs to get 170, I think, to 180 innings this year. Fingers crossed for his health. Let's give him 30 starts. They're going to need it. They're going to need all the help they can get in Kansas City with their pitching staff, because I do not suspect that it's going to be very good. Just with like my projected depth chart that I've seen.
I think with, like I said, Singer could be okay. Lyles would be okay. Yarborough's good.
Have a 4.5 ERA or not.
Who's that?
That's not. Lyles is going to be 4.5
Right,
or higher.
right. But did Lyles? He had a winning record last year, did he not? He's
Yeah,
he's
but his
he's he's a competitor, man. He gives us stuff, but he keeps them in games. I'm telling you, if you watch him as much as I did, he's not as bad as you would think. I was, like the Orioles, I was surprised to let him go and got Gibson because yeah, he was 12-11 last year. Yeah, I he does give some hits, but anyway, I mean, if he's the fourth or fifth starter and Greinke's there and Yarbrough has had some times where he's been good, so I mean, I don't say they're going to win the pennant, but I just think they could be better than we're thinking.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about their record. Will maybe reflect that. But I think one newcomer you forgot to mention, big left-handed Cuban, Aroldis Chapman.
Well, I hadn't got, yeah. One in the hadn't got.
Yeah, he just came there, so he's definitely gonna be their closer. Scott Bartlow and him, it was gonna be Scott Bartlow before, who I
He throws
always seen.
not like him.
You said what?
He throws hard, but not like Chapman.
No, Scott Bartlow had a 2.1 year last year, 24 saves, 69 appearances, which I think it's good. With um, Chapman, sorry, his name escaped me there. I feel like he has some attitude issues, especially recently. Didn't he not? Or he get in trouble in the Yankees came off the playoff roster last year? I think. So he's getting older too. So I think he's more maybe a rental. We're hoping he's going to get some good stats and we'll trade him.
Well, speaking of the bullpen, year KC worked in an organization. What happened to Stamon? I thought he was looking pretty sharp there, and he died last year on the bullpen.
Yeah, say over 6 ERA and 30 or almost 40 innings. So he was really rough last year. And one thing, a pitcher I am excited to see. He didn't do good last year. He's very fiery, very I don't want to say intimidating, maybe, but Amir Garrett is going to see him. I do too. He will, but the hitters like him as well because he had almost a 5 ERA last year and 45 innings. So he did not have a good year last year.
I've always thought he had better stuff and just waiting for him to break through, and it hasn't happened. But I like him.
Yeah, but even so, I think Stallman should be, or not Stallman, Bartlett should definitely be the closer because he's just Chapman. The only reason he'd be a closer is because of his name and what he's done in the past. Because if you go for what he did last year, over 4 ERA, 4.4 ERA, so he wasn't very good. Their bullpen doesn't look good. You can say they expect Max Castillo to be in there, had a 9 ERA in 20 innings. Brad Keller had over 5 in 139 innings. Jose Cuas, who's pretty much underhands the ball. I saw a lot in Omaha. He has a 3/4 delivery. He did good in the minors last year. He came up a little bit, did solid. But I think they're pitching. It's going to be a rough year for them. I did expect them to do a little bit better last year because they had a lot of younger guys coming up and some good veteran pieces. I did expect them to do a little bit better than they actually did last year. So I was a little bit surprised to see them bottom out. Just they weren't a fun team to watch last year. I'll be honest with you. I watched probably over 100 games of it.
Well, you take guys like you go down the list here, guys that were supposed to be something pitchers. What Bubik? Well, Coleman did better than I thought out of the bullpen.
Yeah.
Wow, he didn't do bad at all. Anyway, let's see who else I was thinking of here. Jackson Kowar, Daniel Lynch.
They don't have anything in the minors either coming up.
No, what about Asa Lacey? They're one of their big draft picks. I thought he was going to be really something out of college, but
Nothing, unfortunately. And I don't know what the issue is. It's terrible. I mean, the fans obviously will show up. Look how they show up for the Chiefs.
Well, let me ask
so if they show up, they just don't. There's no reason for them to show up.
I've always heard that they're cheap. They don't spend the money. I don't know why. And again, I'm not rich enough to own a team, but my thoughts are if you can't do it or won't do it, then get out.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Let's go ahead and take a look at their defense and start lineup here. Which, if we go to their catcher, we have Would you say he's a Hall of Famer?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
You think he's a Hall of Famer?
Yes.
He only has 1,200 hits in his career. That's not good. But he has 5 Gold Glovers. He got a couple of Silver Sluggers, and then just 2 years ago, his age 31 season, he had 48 home runs, 121 RBIs. But last year, he bottomed out he got hurt a little bit, and he also turned 32, which again in the formulas that we have, that 32 age drops, 32 drops even more. So he needs to be on his way out,
Well,
I think, and I think Jay Melendez needs to step in.
yeah, because if you're in a rebuild, like I said, why do these teams do?
There's no reason. Salvador's a good, and he'll go down as a top 5 player in history for Kansas City, and he should. He brought him a World Series. He's not Jordan Brett, obviously, who's number 1, but he's probably going to go down as their best catcher they've ever had.
Yeah,
But I don't think they need to move on, and I think MJ Melendez, he's 24. He was a high pick for me, second round pick just a few years ago. It's his turn. It's his time. Give him every day. Give him every day.
Well, do you think they're gonna let him catch more and keep Salvador from bending so much and put him at D?
I hope so, because I'm looking at his stats this year. His field percentage is 990. Catcher 78 games in the outfield. He's not an outfielder. And put him in outfield. They put him left field last year. How do you have a 95 fielding percentage in outfield? That is horrible. And then just overall in the outfield, he had 972, which is terrible. Let him catch. That's what he is. He's a good catcher. He didn't hit very good in the minors last year, but again, it could be because a lot of people say it gets really cold in Omaha, and it's hard for that to heat up. But he didn't heat up in Kansas City either in the summer. He only hit 217. But like you're saying, the players that are supposed to be good, the younger guys, he should be one of those guys. And for whatever reason, it didn't happen. If you just go back a few years for him, in 21, he hit 41 home runs, hit 288 in the minors. Where's that? Why can't we have that again?
Right.
Then you go last year in the minors, he hit 167 in 91 plate appearances.
Yeah, and how many home runs did he produce? He got 18 home runs in KC. He may develop.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think
help the hitters. There's a few, but
I think he'll be okay. I just think it's time to let him play. Like Salvador Perez has had his time; he's gone. Let Melendez step.
Well, hey, they told Dozier he's going to be an everyday third baseman now. So it took him. He's 32, I think. So it took him that long to give him a position. So
Hunter Dozier.
Yeah.
Oof. All right, let's talk about old Hunter Dozier then, since you mentioned him. The bulldozer.
Say about old Hunter.
Can't hit.
Not much.
He has no power.
I don't know how he feels. I didn't watch them too much. They were depressing.
No, yeah, they were tough to watch. I watched a lot of games last year. For Hunter last year, at third base, he only had 27 appearances for 992.
At third base?
Yeah.
Well, it's not bad. Oh, that's good.
Right. But again, it's 212 innings. Outfield last year, he had 280 innings. I think he needs to be the first baseman. I don't think he needs to be third. I think Bobby should stay at third.
No, you got a first baseman.
Oh yeah, that's right, Vinny. But yeah, so Hunter, he can't hit anymore. He never could hit really much in his career. His WAR is negative WAR in his career, negative last 2 years. So he's not a good player. Not someone you can win with. He needs to be gone. But who's going to replace him? It's tough to say, unfortunately. Then we'll go to second base. We got Michael Massey, who hit just 243 last year.
Yeah, about half the season, was it?
Yeah, he doesn't hit good. There's no average hitters on this team. There's no power, and there's not much
come through. He's a left-handed hitter. In the minors, he had a 862 OPS. But he didn't have much for arm, so he's stuck at second.
Yeah, and then we go to third base, or I guess more of a utility guy, Nicky Lopez. We can touch on him. Another guy who was supposed to be
Prado.
No, this is Nicky Lopez.
Yeah,
not Prado. We'll get to Prado. But Nicky Lopez hit 227 last year in 436 at bats. He was just not. He has a little bit of speed. As far as his fielding goes, he's decent. Or no, actually, it's horrible. No, he's a utility guy in the Royals. What do you expect him to be, right?
That's true.
It's unfortunate. Again, not much there. But then we can go to their superstar. I think one of the lone bright spots in that infield. We go to Bobby Witt.
No, they have
Jr.
Infield, dude.
Huh?
They have two major prospects
Yeah, and that's who we're going to touch on the next two guys. So we got Bobby Witt Jr., who is the former, was he number one or number two prospect? Either way, he's one or two.
He went
Um,
number two because Rutschman went first that draft, right?
I mean, like prospect rankings.
Oh, he was high. I know that he depends which one you looked at, I believe.
Yeah. So with Bobby, his fielding could improve. So at shortstop last year, he had 959 fielding percentage. At third base was actually a little bit higher at 976. He did make 19 errors last year, which is quite a bit of
He's
errors.
still young. I'm not worried about him. He's going to be a super.
I don't know. I think
Obvious.
he's a superstar. I think his. I'm very high on him. He hit 20 home runs last
You
year.
know what I think?
Hit two.
Everybody should start the countdown to when he leaves, because I'm sure as soon as he can, he's out of there unless they turn things around. Because why would he want to be a Trout his whole career, play for a sorry team?
Yeah, he's going to be 23 this year, so he's really young. So he's got at least 5 more years in Kauffman Stadium. But I expect some big things from him this year. I expect him to really distance himself as the best player, clearly the best player on that team. I don't think it's really
30 man
well, maybe
this year. 30 man.
30. Absolutely, I think he's home runs might be tough. I'm thinking like 28 or 29 home runs, but it's definitely a possibility. I think he's going to have 35. I've heard he's the fastest player in baseball.
Yeah,
faster than Trey Turner, so that's saying something too because Trey is fast.
Yeah.
Moving on to another superstar in the making, Vinny Pasquantino,
another Old Dominion University guy.
Yeah, the lefty from Virginia who came up as a rookie in limited action last year. I remember they were holding him back so much. He did not deserve to stay in Kansas in Omaha that year. He played 73 games in Omaha. Was hit 277, 18 home runs, 70 RBIs. He was going to get AAA MVP last year. I truly believe he would have. They just kept him down. Remember, it was ridiculous. So he only got 72 games last year.
Down.
Yeah, as a rookie. So he's going to be a 25 to 30 home run guy. I expect this year, probably around a 280 average. But Vinny and Bobby clearly are the far and away best offensive players that this, unfortunately, sorry team has.
And 200 plus at bats, so he batted 295 last year.
He's a good player. He's a very, very, very good player.
Good defensive.
Yeah, he is. And then another guy who's kind of getting lost a little bit, who's supposed to be really good, and you never know really what's going to happen with him. It's going to be Nick Prado. A former first-round pick for the Royals. He played 104. He played not much last year for the Royals. He only played 50 games from last year, hitting 184. So really, you can't expect.
Oh, did he when you were there?
Yeah, he couldn't hit in Omaha. He hit 228, but previous years, the year before that, again, he had 36 runs, 86 RBI. So what happened? He's probably going to start again in Omaha. He unless he has a super spring.
Unless
I'm looking at spring training.
Rotate him in a DH or something. Because
he's hitting 400 right now.
Correct, and at first base.
Yeah. But then as we keep moving on, we go to the outfield. It looks like we're having Edward Olivares, Drew Waters, and Kyle Isbell.
Drew Waters hurt. Don't know how long he's out for. I was reading something, and Waters, he's a switch hitter. I thought he had a lot of potential, but oh shucks, it said it gave someone a chance, and I don't remember who the heck it was. Now let's see. Oh, Isbell.
So Kyle Isbell, let's talk about him for a second. He just turned 26 a few days ago. He's a former third-round pick for the Royals. Someone again who was supposed to be good. It just it hasn't worked out for him, unfortunately. He hit 211 last year, far cry from his previous year of hitting 276 in limited action. I don't believe he's the best fielder as well.
Yeah, little fellow with no power too.
Yeah, he's not. You're not getting much out of him. He's again in the outfield last year. He had 979, and he made 4 errors in the outfield last year, which is not too bad. But one guy I would probably think is going to slot in there is going to be Jackie Bradley Jr., who they just signed a minor league deal.
You're kidding, right?
Well, look at
he can't.
Who else are they going to play over?
He can't.
Well, who can hit on this team?
He's terrible. I mean, he's god awful hitter. I mean,
they don't have anyone on this team.
And I was hoping he'd be good because he's from my home state of Virginia. But dang, when I put, you're going to have to go with the young guys. If when Waters comes back, Isbell, Oliveris, and Prado is what I would do, because you're rebuilding. You might as well get them in there
I would rather lose 100 games
with the young guys.
with young guys than lose 90 games with older guys.
I know, because it's exciting when you put new players in there, young players. You know,
Yep.
go washed up
Yep.
buzzards. You don't need them making big salaries for what? You know, at least take
Yeah.
Michael A. Taylor, a guy who couldn't hit to save his life. He had every chance in the world to make it with the Nationals, and he couldn't do it. Ooh, gee, sounds like Victor Robles. But anyway.
We've been moving on to their prospects, and unfortunately, it does not get any better for the Twins the Royals organization. Sorry. Gavin Cross is the only top 100 prospect they have, and he's in the bottom half of that. He's just an A-ball at 22, so it's time.
Virginia Tech guy, too, from Virginia. Okay.
Yeah. He hit solid last year. Rookie ball, he only had 10 at-bats, but an A-ball, he hit 293. It's good for hitting 312 across both levels last year. He has to start in Double-A, ideally be up in Omaha by the end of this year.
He's
this year, but
right.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
His dad is, or Adam Cross, who's a former minor league player as well. He did sign for $5 million. So,
Cross?
Yeah, so big things hoping for him. He was just drafted recently too, but after him, you got Ben Kudra. Very odd.
Yeah, with that one, big guy.
What?
I can't help you out with that one. Let's see.
Kudra.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Kudrna.
He's a
he's
young, right?
Yeah, Kansas City area. He's a young guy, but he's just an A-ball. Then you got Mikel Garcia, who has already had a few time up there, but it's just he hit 318, very limited action last year for the Royals, but he's in Omaha. He hit 274 last year, so maybe you have something there. You got a utility guy who's 24, which is how many times have you ever seen a top prospect just say utility?
That's true too.
Yeah. So Nick Lofton, he's old.
How about Nate Eaton? I mean, the reason I'm asking questions because you know more about KC than me, but I know he got up there. He may be the guy that they said may have a chance now because he got 106 at bats up there and batted 264 last year. Didn't he? He probably came through Omaha.
He's old.
Nate Eaton.
I mean, he's 26. So not old, but
yeah,
for someone to be just breaking through, there, what can you really expect from him? He did break through, and he should make the team out of spring. At least I hope for his sake and the Royals' sake he does. But there's just, who knows? Do you know
where
him?
their system was ranked?
Who?
Where their farm system was ranked, and it kind of low.
Yes, I do. So their farm system rank is 24th. It says the Royals are a bottom 10 system.
Bad. You're rebuilding, and your farm system stinks. And Dayton Moore is supposed to be this savior, because he'd been with the Braves and everywhere, and now he's gone. What did he do? I guess he was there and they won the World Series. But dang, I mean, it's great to win a World Series, but then the tank after that and just be bad.
Well, just like let's say Asa Lacy in 2020 is the 4th overall pick.
Yeah, what's
he is their 15th best prospect. How?
How did
you look at his
draft?
His ERA last year. Think of this. His ERA last year between rookie ball and he didn't pitch much because he always gets hurt. His ERA was 10.6. And the year before that, in 14 starts, it was 5. He's going to be one of the guys who'll never make it.
Well, it makes you wonder.
He'll be selling real estate in 2 years.
It makes me wonder. I don't know all the inner workings with them or some of these teams, but do they coach these guys? I mean, because everybody thought Asa Lacy was going to be a star, a great prospect. I remember before he got picked, I was like, well, I wouldn't mind my team getting.
Well, here's another guy, competitive balance pick, TJ Sycamore.
Yeah,
he's a 38th overall pick. You expect him to be solid. He's their 23rd best prospect, and his stats last year in A-ball and Double-A, it was a 4.8. So how are you a competitive balance guy and you're just that bad? So, there's a catching prospect named Luca Tresh, who was, he wasn't a high pick, but he didn't hit. It's just unfortunate. There's nothing there. There's nothing there.
I know it's sad,
Unfortunately.
for Kansas City fans, because it doesn't. You don't really see any future right now. I mean, yeah, you got Bobby Witt and Pasquantino, but look at all these pitchers like Lynch and these guys I mentioned before. They were supposed to be pretty good, but they're nothing. I mean,
Well, think
that Arizona and St. Louis and Baltimore and Houston and Dodgers, they always develop people. How?
yeah,
I mean, there's got to be
it's a shame. But moving on to our projections for the Minnesota Twins, we do not have them finishing last. That's only because I keep saying the Twins, the Kansas City Royals. We do not have them finishing last. But that's only because they play against the Detroit Tigers and they are in their division. But we have them finishing 71 and 91, which is a little bit better. A little bit was worse than last year.
Yeah.
But there's just not much there. Maybe if they're younger guys hit to their potential, I think they only got two really good offensive players on that team, unfortunately. Savi is definitely past his due date. You don't expect much out of him. You got Pasquantino, you got Bobby Witt. Apart from that, you just got a bunch of guys.
I think Massey's going to surprise everybody a little bit this year too, but that's just my personal feeling.
I hope so. I think they're only good pitchers. Brady Singer,
What about
who?
Keller, pitcher? Brad.
He didn't really do. His track record says he's not going to do anything. So until he does, you can't really count on him.
Yeah, so
Greinke, you know what you get with Greinke, maybe, but he's getting so old. But he's never really relied on speed. So that 82-mile-an-hour fastball might do something for him.
He's good with the fans too, signing balls, right?
No,
real quick. I know we shouldn't be negative, but I thought that was a jerk thing to do. What he did. You remember the story you told me about the autograph my ball?
Yeah, someone asked him for either a hat or a ball, and he took it and threw it in the opposite way of the fans. So I've heard some very odd things about Zach, but
I bet
he's an odd guy, and his changeup's faster than his fastball, so it matches with it matches what kind of guy he is.
Is he going to the Hall of Fame eventually?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so too.
Absolutely. He's been pitching for the last 32 years, so he's got longevity for sure. But yeah, 71-91, not much in Kansas City. Hopefully they turn it around. I had to wear my Kansas City affiliated hat tonight. So, which Storm Chasers, if anyone doesn't know that, it's a good organization. Great things to say about them, obviously. But again, before we start off, I'd like to give a thanks to our sponsor, Jane's Creations, which again, you see the beautiful, colorful baseball wreath behind us that you gladly made donated to the show for us. So thank you, Jane. If you're watching this, you are fantastic. But John, I'll let you go ahead and do the sign-off for us, and then come back tomorrow where we will finish up with the Minnesota Twins, the last team in the AL Central before we go to the West, which some competitive teams out in the West. That's going to be a better division to do because I think we got three teams there that are going to be fun to talk about. But,
I even think the Angels are going to improve.
Well, I disagree with you on that one, but we'll talk about that next week. So, again, like it, share it on YouTube, comment, let us know your feedback, let your friends know. We're still on Spotify as well. YouTube
website.
A little bit faster. Yeah, go to our website, brooksknowsball.godaddysites.com. The best way to do it, go to our Instagram page, like our Instagram page, click the link in the bio, take you to all of our articles. You can go to the YouTube podcast straight from there, Spotify podcast straight from there.
Yeah.
We are
more likes and shares and everything we get, the more we can do. And we got a lot of plans.
One thing I would like to say as well, GoDaddy just told me that we are the top 87%. One of the best 87. Now that sounds bad at the 87th percentile, so I guess we're in the 13th percentile. But we're doing good. We're doing better than 87% of the website, so we thank you guys for continuing to click on that. We've had over 300 impressions on the website recently, so it's awesome.
I'd like to hear from some of the followers, too, get some feedback, as far as nothing negative, of course, but, if any questions or what you'd like to see us talk about, anything we could change, we're open.
Yeah, let us know. But, John, let you go do the sign-off. Right at 30-minute marks is perfect time.
All right, that's all for now, folks. See you next time on Brooks Knows Baseball.
Good night.
Good night, John Boy.